Instead of focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show. Well, hey there, folks. Welcome to today's episode of The Brian Nichols Show. I am, as always, your humble host, joining you from our lovely Cardio Miracle Studios here in not sunny, actually quite snowy, Eastern Indiana. The Brian Nichols Show is powered by the best heart health supplement in the world, Cardio Miracle. So you want to learn how to lower your resting heart rate, lower your blood pressure while improving your pump at the gym, just like I did. And I said that, for the past 2 years, I've been using Cardio Miracle and I've seen the difference for myself. So go ahead, if you're watching the show, scan the little QR code over my shoulder, or if you're listening to the show, head to cardiomiracle.com/TBNS. That'll bring you right to cardiomiracle.com, where you can go ahead and get your order of Cardio Miracle and get 15% off your order. And you'll know you're in the right spot because you'll see a little notice on the top of your homepage saying you're shopping with Brian Nichols. And by the way, you can learn more about my Cardio Miracle story, my little testimonials over at that landing page as well. So one more time, cardiomiracle.com/TBNS. But let's jump into today's topic of conversation. We are going down to a state that I've actually had quite a bit of affinity towards, being a Dallas Cowboys fan, and as the great state of Texas. And joining us here on the show today is someone who's running for Congress down in Texas, and that is one Briscoe Cain. Briscoe, welcome to the Brian Nichols Show. How you doing?
Howdy, Brian. Hey, hold on, man. I need to pull out my phone so I can check out that QR code behind you, buddy.
There you go. Yeah, go ahead. Get some Cardio Miracle. You're on the campaign trail. You're going to need all the heart health you can get, man.
Yeah, plus we've got 5 kids, 5 boys, and that keep us pretty busy. So, but
5 kids will do it. Yeah, 100%. I have 1, and it's enough to keep you going. But 5, that'll do it. Briscoe, let's start here. Obviously, you're a dad, right? You got a family. You're currently a state rep down in Texas, and you're running for Congress. And I think it's great for my audience to get to know the person before they understand kind of your mission. So just give us a little bit more of your story. Who are you? What led you to run for public office? Because it's tough. My dad was a legislator for 15 years. I saw it firsthand, right? So just kind of tell us a little bit more about that story, and then obviously tell us a little bit more about kind of the things you're passionate about in the world of public policy.
Yeah, right, man. We'll do some of the personal background before before stump speech stuff. So I grew up down here in the refinery world. If you guys want to kind of know where I grew up, there's a movie called Urban Cowboy, okay, with John Travolta. It would give you an idea.
Oh yeah,
That's my neighborhood. And so my parents worked at the refineries. There's always a glow on the horizon, but I knew what it meant for my community and the world. So, I grew up in working class home. My dad was to shift workers, and somehow I found myself going to law school. It was a kind of a neat story. And I was an activist on campus in law school, Federal Society, and then pro-life law student organizations, Republican law student organizations, and found myself kind of organizing. So that would be kind of the background on it. And met my wife, started having kids. She's also really involved in politics as well. So not only are homeschoolers of 5, but my wife's the vice president of the Texas Federation of Republican Women. She's on the National Federation of Republican Women's board. She chairs their MAHA committee, and so she's really involved as well. And there are 5 boys. I think they enjoy it. They haven't told me yet, but maybe one day they'll say they don't enjoy it. But they're always also with us on the campaign trail, and they go with us to Austin. They've had a really neat childhood that is unique for, gosh, a lot of the kids get to grow up in that big, beautiful building. And if you ever visited the Texas Capitol, it's a sight to see. But after a decade in the legislature of delivering on the issues that it seems like a lot of other states are trying to do, or what DC is not able to get done, and also I thought 10 years was long enough, and I believe right now more than ever that Americans need fighters in Washington to help Trump succeed in his second term, to deliver on his promises to the American people. And we're not seeing that, are we? Of course, y'all may not realize it. This is one of those, the seat I'm running in is what we call the new ninth. There's 5 new Republican seats in Texas. Right? This was from the redistricting that we had a few months ago, and went up to the Supreme Court, and they've allowed us to go forward. So, the mission's kind of even tighter. It is symbolic in a way that, because this is about helping hold Congress, which right now we only have a 1-seat majority, and an estimation that at the end of the day, we may only have a 2 or 3 seat majority. So it's one of those kind of really, really critical and important races. And I look forward to going up there and trying to shake some things up and get it done, man.
There you go. Well, hey, just going back to one thing you brought up there, being a son again of a former elected official, it is really cool. Some of the things you get to experience. I mean, I grew up in upstate New York politics, and with that, a lot of New York state politics. So I had a very diverse kind of palette of political folks I got to experience. I got to experience on the Republican side. George Pataki, he was our governor at the time. Rick Lazio was running for U.S. Senate against Hillary Clinton back in 2000, I think. Got to meet John McHugh, former
Yeah.
congressman, and then former Secretary of the Army under Obama. And then the other side, right? Just because the nature of New York politics is predominantly Democratic heavy, you got to meet folks like Chuck Schumer, got to meet folks like Hillary Clinton. By the way, she's just as charming in person as she portrays herself on TV, but that's a
Oh,
different
bummer, man.
conversation for a different day. Oh yeah.
That stinks.
But just
There's some funny enemies that people hate that I've served with, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to say it on TV. I'm like, they're actually cool behind the scenes.
right.
Like Jasmine
Yeah.
Crockett actually knows how to act normal.
Which is wild,
That's
right?
served
Because
with.
the persona you see on TV, and this is the thing too, right? Like a lot of
Oh, dude, she went
politics.
to elite private schools and acts like a thug. It's complete fraudery. It's all in order to appeal to somebody else, acting like someone you're not. She's a totally normal person in real life,
Dude,
but she's
it's
leading
wrestling.
people,
It's
off the cliff.
professional wrestling. Jack Hunter, he's been on the show. He's an old Rand Paul staffer, and he's talked about this. Like when you look behind the scenes, a lot of it is just professional wrestling. Like these guys go out, they'll use the chair, they'll throw you on the bed of nails, and then afterwards they're like, "Hey, you want to go get a beer?" right, right. And it's all theater, right? It's professional theater.
Yeah, disappointing.
Feels like it. I have a question I wanted to kind of pose to you because obviously it sounds like you have a lot of values and principles that you kind of use as your North Star, which I love. But how do you balance kind of having those principles and guiding like those guiding lights with trying to be pragmatic and functional in real life, right? And this is something as I look at as morally, philosophically libertarian, right? Not by big L libertarian party standards and not by open border standards. There's a lot of goofballs that have taken over the narrative, which I hate. But I look at somebody like a Thomas Massie, right? I think he's very principled. He votes with Republicans 91% of the time. 9% of the time, it's usually what did he say? He goes, "It's when we spend too much money, or we're taxing us to death. We're trying to protect pedophiles, or we're trying to bankrupt the American people." Is something like that. He quipped to I think it was Laura Loomer's staffer. I could be wrong, but just in general, right? I see the battle between folks who like a Thomas Massie who say, "Hey, I got these principles, and I think we really need to hold these steadfast because I think part of the reason we're in the issue we're in is because we haven't really used any principles to guide us." And then on the other side saying, "Hey, that's great. We hear you. Yes, we agree. But where we are today, we have to almost triage, right? If you're to think of like in a medical standpoint, like you got to address the bleeding first, and then you can try to remedy the other issues. That might require some not libertarian principles. That might require some state intervention, right? And this is where the big kind of battle has been happening more in the political right. So, what's your kind of perspective there when you look at it from your perspective?
It's a solid analysis you already had, right? As somebody who called themselves a liberty conservative or small L kind of thing, right? Somebody who's been called Mr. No before. In recent years, you've had to kind of figure it out. And I think right now, one of the things that I've been maybe able to, because I've got to find a moral clarity, like where's this line and how do I justify it? And it's going, does this help the enemies of the West or not? Does this help us defeat socialism? Like right now, we're kind of in that survival question. Do I live
Yeah.
tomorrow? And that's where we are. And so the answer is like live, survive. Perfect example. Does this advance the socialist agenda? Does this help us kill the communists? That's where we're at. Yeah, there's brass tacks.
If you operate a multi-location business like restaurants, retail stores, grocery chains, or franchises, managing phones across locations should not be complicated. But for many operators, it is. Inconsistent systems, confusing bills, and vendors who disappear when problems show up. Level 365 simplifies business communications across every location with centralized control, reliable performance, and real human support. No long-term lock-ins, no surprise fees, just a phone system that scales without the headaches. Learn more at level365.com.
And that's unfortunate, right? Like that's And this is the part we go back to the kind of the ethos we had the show back in like 2019, which man, 7 years ago, like just how innocent the world kind of was before COVID really opened a lot of people's eyes to things. But we
Dude.
were much in the mindset of like, hey, let's sell our ideas, right? And there's going to be a group of people out there that we can go out, we can meet them where they're at, we can sell them on their ideas, and I still believe that at my core. But also to your point, there is kind of like we have to address the elephant in the room conversation, right? Like you can't sell a remedy, you can't sell a prescription until you have first help show the diagnosis and help really articulate the pain, right? Like, and I use this a lot in the sales world. Like I help coach B2B sales, and we talk about, twisting the knife, right? Like you have to articulate this is the pain that you're currently experiencing and then make it real, right? Like really drive home that pain and then offer a tangible solution. And that's the part right now I see a lot of folks more in my world, in your world, in that liberty conservative world. We're kind of like between that rock and the hard place because we understand where we want to go, right? But we also
Yeah.
understand we're $37 trillion in debt.
No,
And that's like, oh,
you gotta be pragmatic about it. And
yes.
that's the odd one. And
And how
what's
do you
funny
do
is that
that?
used to be a word of the moderates. Like if I heard you running as a pragmatic, and in fact, I don't advise it for a conservative, but I'm like, I'm already suspicious that you're
Mhm.
giving some excuse. You're like, heads up, I'm gonna be a moderate. No, but this is literally the question is like, do we survive tomorrow? I think is kind of ultimately where we're at. And
Well, yeah,
people, I don't know what we blame it on. People are results oriented. The voters right now are like, I don't
100%.
care. I just want it to stop. And I don't know if that's the temperature in the room and how bad it's gotten, or that we're just really used to Amazon Prime and next day delivery. Right? Like I want it
For real.
now. I don't care how you get there. Stop it. And it's
Instant
hard not to agree
gratification.
with them.
Yeah.
Right? We're seeing chaos and we're going, stop that now. Get them out now. I don't care. I don't care why. And it used to be something for us to go, due process. He needs a hearing. And like, I don't just get them out. We already know what they are. Just leave.
Yeah.
Here we
Well,
are.
and this is the part, right? Like this is the part where a lot of my friends on the more political left, and I would even say kind of that a squishy moderate, I don't think they realize how how motivated the political right just by and large is on this issue, right? Because to your point, we've gotten to the point where a lot of the folks on the right are at that moment where they're like, I just don't care anymore. I don't want to hear the argument. I don't want to hear the sales pitch. I'm done, right? Like we're done hearing the rationalizations to excuse morally and ethically abhorrent behavior, or in this case, like if we're talking about immigration, illegal immigration, outright criminal behavior. And that's something where if we have laws, we have to enforce them. You have to. You can't arbitrarily say like, well, these people are undocumented. It's like, no, you have to use words that articulate who they are. They are criminal, illegal aliens because language matters. And this is something that we've been talking about here in the show for years now, is like you see the left's attempt to manipulate language, right? Like they're trying to manipulate what it means to be a man or a woman. They're trying to manipulate, what family dynamics look like, the state's role in education, and they're very focused on changing words to fit a narrative and an agenda. And I was actually just talking about this with my buddy Austin Peterson up in Missouri about like the old Libertarian Party used to have this slogan. It was bigotry is irrational and repugnant. And I was like, that's why I hated that from the beginning, because that's obvious leftist cultural signaling, right? Like, and why are we doing that? Like, we have to stop allowing the messaging and the narrative to be leveraging this coded progressive kind of a cultural approach to just change the Overton window more to the left, and then we're the bad guys because we're the ones who are like, hey, you're moving the Overton window to the political left, and they're like, how dare you fascists? And it's like, oh, okay. And now your average person, to your point, is saying that's why I'm done, right? That's why I'm checking out.
We're done. I felt that way yesterday, like listening to the fact that we can't, stop sending tax dollars to the Taliban.
Oh my God, I know.
Like, how do we just not quit? Like, if please don't stay at home, guys, go vote. But I've never wanted to just feel like, why? What are we doing here? People vote against this? We've had to pass it twice out of the House. It hasn't gone through. How is that possible? Where are we, man? Sorry, it's like 4 million a day. Stupid.
Nothing though. That's chump change. Look at Minneapolis, right? And we can go this route. Like you see a lot of what we're seeing in Minneapolis now being uncovered across the country. Just a
Oh, yeah.
couple hours to my east over here in Columbus, Ohio. Like there's another potential Somali, daycare fraud scheme or home health care fraud scheme. And this is like it's eye opening to a lot of kind of your normies who are like, wait, what? They're getting how much money to do literally nothing? There's no building. So what are your kind of thoughts on that when you're looking at the waste, fraud, and abuse? I mean, Elon Musk exposed some of it with Doge, and now we're kind of seeing it manifest with Nick Shirley's documentation of what's going on up in Minneapolis, and now we're seeing it across the country. So kind of what's your feedback on that?
Mhm. I think a lot of what Doge revealed is there's more people still uh, making money off the government and grifting off of it than
Yep.
we realize. I mean, why was
Yeah.
there so much opposition to it? Unless there were people in our own party, right, quote unquote, we're goring their sacred cow. And I think it's just barely the tip of the iceberg that these sinners are doing it. The fraud seems to be everywhere, including people who are benefiting from it. Why else is it able to be stopped? It makes absolutely no sense. So in the legislature, we've tried to do some of those things in Texas. I will tell you an embarrassing one. So we founded a Doge caucus that I helped found, and then they created a Doge committee this session. They put us on it, couple of conservatives. We're really excited. I'm sorry, taxpayer. It did nothing. The bills we passed like 3 bills out of there that created new government agencies and grew government. We didn't Doge anything. Your government's lying to you. It's a trick. Um, yeah, you just got to be willing to say no.
And this is
That easy.
Texas.
I mean, it's Texas. Your ultimate question, like when you're talking to these candidates and these people, is are they willing to make tough decisions? Are you
Right.
willing to upset people? Are you willing to gore their golden cow? Are you willing to say, sidewalks are nice, we can't have them right now? I mean, you've got to go after people's favorite things. You got to go after their art projects and their displays and their trees and their bicycle lanes, like all the fancy stuff. We just don't get to have it. Sorry, no more.
Let's just. I don't want to be a black pillar here, but like you mentioned that Doge committee in Texas not doing diddly squat. I mean,
It was a
that's
joke.
Texas. But that's Texas. That's red Texas. Like,
Yeah, but
what
if you
does that
call it
say
Doge
if you're having
committee, sounds legit.
right? But what does that say to like us actually kind of turning this ship around? If red Texas is having that much issue of actually implementing a Doge committee, and you guys are all deep red, and then you look at like our country, it's obviously it's schismed, right? Like there's the big divide right now. I mean, how do
Yeah.
we even remotely
committee-
turn this around if you're going to
Well,
Congress?
committees are run by the chairman, and that dude is a total dweeb, and he's gone now. So good for Texans. He's not coming back. He just wanted to serve his own self-interest, but we've seen him packing, so no worries.
Okay.
But no, really, there are problems. We spend too much money. Texas we're second highest in local debt in America. There's like
No kidding.
$15,000 per man, woman, child, and just local debt alone. We're talking about city, county, school, special district.
Wow.
That's kind of frightening, actually. So,
Yeah.
no, it's gotta be turned around, and that's one of the things about revealing it, 'cause if you're walking around thinking everything's fine, just like we did for a long time here in the United States, thinking nothing's wrong, all while the ship is sinking, and then we wake up to it. So, I like to be honest about ourselves and be honest about where my state is, 'cause we're gonna not do anything to fix it and turn around. Next thing we know, we're California.
So how do we fix the country? And I know that's a big question, right? But you're running for Congress, and at least you'll be one of the voices, at least one of 435 voices that will have some
Yeah.
influence if you were to get into office. So, like, what are some of the first steps you would recommend we start to look at? Like, maybe what are some bills you want to propose? Maybe some committees you want to aim to get on, or some causes you just want to raise awareness to?
That's fair. Yeah, how do you fix it? I think one is it's an elephant tonight, and I've seen some great men. We watched President Trump try and take an elephant on it, and it's difficult to eat that slowly. And so to
Yep.
be able to focus on the things you can affect, that's just reality. It's too big of a problem and focus on small stuff. One of the things I'm really digging, which is kind of being discussed right now, it's something we did here in Texas, something Florida did, but I'd like to say we did it better, which is to ban our foreign adversaries from purchasing our land.
Oh,
You can't do any of it anymore in Texas. Now in Florida, it's kind of like farmland, land within 10 miles of military bases. We're not allowing you to have a lease longer than a year. Okay. You can't buy our farmland. You can't buy single family residences. You can't buy land at all, period. From Iran, North Korea, China, a list of other countries, and now that the Council on American Islamic Relations and the Muslim Brotherhood have been added to a certain list, any affiliates of those guys can no longer buy land in Texas or own land in Texas or have a year lease. And also structures of divestment of then the Attorney General then suing and beginning to require it back and penalizing these people. Because not only do you have to stop it, we got to then take it back from them, right?
Mm.
It's not enough to go, hey, all right, the Chinese own a bunch of land by these satellite towers, by these military bases, no more buying it. Well, they shouldn't have it now, right? So we have to reacquire it. And of course, hey, that maybe you got to pay people a fair market value or something. We're not going to take it from you, but you're going to go home and you shouldn't own our land. It's really that simple. But what you're seeing is where they're buying it should be shocking. It's not
Yeah,
just
and that's what I was gonna say.
farmland.
That was the surprising part.
It's next to, obviously, you heard about Florida's and ours, like military installations,
Yeah.
radio towers.
We were seeing that in upstate New York, where I grew up, is like Fort Drum is up there, right? And you were seeing a lot of Chinese people buy property in the St. Lawrence River, and it's like, okay, yeah, like I get it because it's a nice retirement area, but also like my spidey senses start to tingle, right? Because that's a very major hub for the Northeast, and I mean, just elephant in the room. You're right, China's not our friend, and I don't know why there's this allergy we have as a country to address these political realities, like the realm of this boomer political correctness that really took over the country from like the 90s through really much like 2020, right? Up to like
Their
2024, I would say, right? Like, but
It's a guilt. They have guilt.
They do.
Yeah, that's what it really is. It
Oh,
manifests as
yeah.
guilt.
But like
We'll be
it's
honest.
going away, I
That
think, like because they're, I mean, and I'm not trying to be gross here, but they're dying off. The baby boom is now hitting the mortality cliff, and that's just going to be a fundamental political reality. That's going to be a big change. And like you look at the younger generation, the women out there in the younger generation, I'm scared for because a lot of them have drifted very far to the left. But on the men's side, they've gone, also far to the right. And it's just, I'm very curious to see how that dynamic is going to manifest in electoral politics, but kind of going back to the whole, like, this boomer mentality, like it's gonna go away. And there's gonna be a very real reaction to that going away with our country. Just inherently by that voting base no longer being here. And that's going to be what, 20, 30 years. And that's not that far away.
I hope they're sure to pass their wisdom on, because there's certainly wisdom to be had from that generation, from us to learn from, if anything. When I'm thinking about that dichotomy right now of men who are becoming really traditionalist and kind of really right wing, right? Just kind of going, hey, I'm tired of being picked on and pushed around and emasculated. That's neat to see. I think while we see it in the women, man, we're gonna get in trouble for this one. I see it when eventually they start dating and marriage happens, that kind of changes. There's just
And they have a kid.
the stability comes in, kids happen, and it
Yep.
can tend to take care of itself. But if it doesn't take care of itself, we probably should, pass a law to begin the denaturalization process and deport liberal white women. Just that's easy. I mean, if you were to go, like, what is the worst thing right now? So where we're at. It's embarrassing.
Briscoe, I wanted to ask you in terms of, audience members who are listening today. I hear a lot of folks, they are jaded with the political system.
Don't blame 'em.
They're checking out, right? And I think a lot of it is just like this constant, I'm not gonna say it's the boy who cries wolf kind of approach, but like people are just so tired of like it's the worst time ever, and now it's the worst time ever, and it's like here's another tragic event, and people are just like, ugh, like I'm so burnt out, and they're just checking out. And that leads me to be concerned because I see the folks who aren't checking out are those rabid activists. Some of the folks we're seeing up in Minneapolis, right? So what would be kind of your battle cry to some of the voters who are mentally checking out, be they right wing, independent, moderate, centrist, or all those in between?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't blame you, and I understand taking a break. If you need a break, right, might take one. But I'm begging you, and I think so is Brian, that you stay engaged. Sometimes you just got to really focus on the things you can change right there in your community.
Preach.
and get those wins. And so maybe you don't live in Minnesota. Don't go to Minnesota. Go work at your own city council, your city hall, work at your kid's school. Your community needs you, and you can turn it around right there. It's really that simple. And the idea that you need to be anybody special or with special training, for me as a Christian, I would tell you that Christ has already qualified you to go and do the right thing. You just need to
Mhm.
act in faith and walk it out, that you don't need some kind of special diploma or degree or certificate to be an activist. You don't need to run for office or be elected. But you should do all those things if you feel led to do. But we need you in the trenches. And one of the great things about numbers is, and you'll even find on the left, is a small group of organized people can make a great impact. You don't need money. You don't need to be a huge army. You just need to be organized and be somebody with character that's always wanted to do the right thing. And I think you'll find success.
We're getting towards the end of the show here, and we do a little part called final thoughts, and I'll kick things off, and I'll let you kind of have the final word here, Briscoe. But one thing I do think is important, especially for my audience in the business space, is you can approach things trying to be kind of like down the middle, but I do think there is a time and place to, kind of plant your flag in the sand and say, like, we're gonna, this is the line, right? We're not gonna go past here. And we're seeing that with folks like Elon Musk, JP Diamond, right? Like people who traditionally had been quiet now taking positions. Like JP Diamond's out there being very vocal about how just not even upset he is, just like how angry he is at what happened under those 4 years during the Biden administration with illegals crossing the border. And it's like, listen, I'm glad that he's on board now, right? I wish he was on board back then, but the fact that people like him are speaking out, I am firmly of the belief that it empowers people to do the same. I'm actually hearing it in my business world where I've been on podcasts like in a parallel world for like contact center business communications like stuff, right? For my day job. And I hear guys who are like, "Hey, I listened to your main show." And he's like, "Do you ever get nervous about people in our business space like hearing your politics?" And I was like, I used to be concerned, but then I realized like it's okay to voice what your values are, like what you believe. You're not doing it in a mean, crass way. You're just saying, this is what I believe. I'm a Christian. I have certain standards, right? I don't believe that the state should be trying to indoctrinate my kids. I don't believe the state should be trying to seize my property or half my income. I don't believe that the state should be going through and trying to see if they can control the weather. Obviously, I wish they could because it's 62 degrees where you are, and it was 3 where I woke up this morning. But that's a different conversation for a
I got
different day.
silver
By the way, we
iodine
did it.
over myself now.
Yeah, I was going to say we did have a conversation about this literally a couple months ago with a guy. I forget his name, and I'm so sorry, but it was about should we be playing God? And I took the probably not. He said, "Well, God said we could take dominion of the land and sea," and I'm like, I don't know if he meant control the weather, but again, go listen to that conversation. It was fascinating. But with that being said, Briscoe, I am excited because we do have folks like you who are a different generation, right? Who are now going to be taking over in Congress. And I know a lot of us in the millennial generation, we've been looking at the boomers being like, come on, guys, just like, please let go of some power and let some of us kind of fill the void. But you got all the folks on both sides of the aisle, right? You got your Chuck Grassley's, your Mitch McConnell's, you got your Chuck Schumer's, your Nancy Pelosi's. I mean, they're all in their 80s and 90s. And it's just like, oh my Lord, guys, take a break. Go be grandma. Like, don't be Dianne Feinstein, literally get wheeled off into the sunset, into the coffin. Like, that's just horrible way to go. Like, go be grandma and just relax and chill. But that's my final thoughts.
Yeah.
Briscoe, what do you have for us? Bring us home.
If you're focused on long-term health but tired of overcomplicated wellness trends, you already know the frustration. Too many products promise miracles and deliver chaos. Cardio Miracle keeps it simple. It supports nitric oxide and blood flow, foundational elements of heart health, stamina, and overall performance. That means better energy, better workouts, and better recovery, without forcing your body into extremes. If you want health support that actually makes sense, and to get 15% off your order, visit cardiomiracle.com/TBNS to learn more.
Oh, dude, we could just kept talking. I felt like complaining about the couple of legislators we have in Texas that have been over 50 years
50?
in office. There's just one, I think he's going on 54.
Good grief, man.
It's hard to think about, especially for you and I. We were like combined. We're not there. No, yes, please. One is right. No, that you should be focused on raising up that next generation. I don't know if the Republican parties failed to do that. I think we would discuss that they weren't doing it for a long time. That was a major complaint, is we'd look at the left and they were kind of, you'd see them trying to mentor and bring folks up, maybe part of their
Mhm.
grooming process. I don't know if it was malice or not, but you might like visibly notice they're doing it, but our party hadn't done it for a long time. I think that's why you saw guys like Ron Paul in the 90s and others start to be so attractive in that movement.
Mhm.
And I think that's why you
Yep.
saw that coming through the Republican Liberty caucuses and and all these kind of groups popping up. We're all now getting older and a little more mature and realizing what true conservatism is about and becoming more kind of this liberty Republican. And here we are, we're all Trump voters. And because frankly, we just kind of got tired of dreaming about things and wanted to see things get done. And that's exactly
Mhm.
the kind of guy that I am. At the end of the day, we got to do it. We're worried about the future of this country. We know where it's going. There is zero question on it. I mean, if you've paid for prices of anything in the last few years, you've noticed where it's going. And the enemy's at the gate, and that's it. And so, got like a decade of not flinching under pressure. And I think that matters. I've been surprised at how gross it seems to be in DC as I continue to learn that the whole world's still about money. I mean, we obviously knew that. And I would have thought that being in Texas and the eighth largest economy on earth would have given me some form of experience of what I'm seeing in DC, but it's certainly dirty. It's certainly a gross swamp, but we have it everywhere. And but I think I'm the kind of person that understands how to stand up to pressures and do what's right no matter what. And I enjoy pushing the ball down the field. And if that means I have to pound, pound, pound all day long and, make fights and be loud, that's what our voters want, though. God, we're so tired of just people won't even hear you complain. Like, that's straight up. One of the biggest things I'm getting back from constituents I hear all the time is like, "You're not mad about that." I am mad about it. I have to tell you I'm mad about it? Like, yes. They want us to let them know we're with them. And I get it, kind of, actually. I kind of understand. And so that one's kind of difficult to kind of constantly message like, yes, I'm with you, but that's what our voters want. I think that's also why they're so results orientated. They don't care why. Just want to get fixed. So let's go fix it, man. And I know that's what you're doing, Brian, with the show. You're helping fix it, being one of those voices. And that's what we can encourage others when they're maybe feeling kind of down or is like they're not wanting to do this anymore. Don't give up. We need you. It's too freaking important. That's the message, man.
Amen, man. It's funny you say that because I was literally just having this conversation about like, wow, the show, I've been doing this since 2018. And I was like, it can burn you out, right? Like I got at one point doing 5 episodes a day or a week. It's not a day. Oh my God, if I had 5 a day, I would lose my mind. But 5 a week. And that was a lot. And then, you start a family and then it's like, well, let's do 3 a week. And then life happens and you start to do other things that are I'm not gonna say more valuable, but it's just in terms of like prioritization, things kind of move up and down. And like I had to
No,
to kind
no.
of scale the show back. But I'm at the point now where I'm like, hey, you know what? I think, we're at a good once a week. We're doing these a little bit longer form episodes, and we get to really dig deeper into some topics that, frankly, I wish we had done a little bit more in the past because I was more about like, hey, let's just make sure we get a short episode out. But you're right. Like it does come down to us continuing to do this kind of thing and to actually like get involved, right? Like I think for millennials especially, a lot of us are burnt out and jaded just because we've seen so much just of almost like things just not happening or happening just in the most backwards of ways. Like if you want to see things get better, you do have to get involved, right? Like this is what Plato, where he's like, if you the nightmare is growing up and finding a world where you're ruled by your inferiors or something along those lines. Like that's the mentality where like if you see things getting worse, it's like yeah, because you might not be involved. So yeah, Briscoe, where can folks go ahead support you as you are on your venture there for the it's newly formed Texas Ninth? Is that the terminology? What does
Yeah,
that look like
when
when?
the new Texas ninth. That would have been Al Green, the guy with the cane that's always trying to impeach President Trump.
Oh,
We
that guy. That's
yeah, we
right.
got rid of his seat. We got rid of Jasmine Crockett's seat. That's why they're running for different things now.
What's she
Certainly
running
so. But
for?
it's an area I've represented for a decade. 40% of the primary voters already. This is a 60% seat called a Trump plus 20. But you can find anything about us at briscoecain.com or at Briscoe Cain on pretty much every social site there is. Guys, I want to tell you this. It's not just for me. If there's a candidate you like in your state, you're watching, you've never even pitched in, I'd ask you to check them out and just send them $5. Maybe not seems small. There's something about you investing in that. I also assure you, at least I notice. I bet they'll notice. You notice
Mhm.
when everyday average Joes are doing something, it actually means a lot. When I see Miss Mary so-and-so sent in $5. I know that was probably a whole lot more than some lobbyist or some big donor, but it's taking this proactive step. So if you're not doing a podcast, you're not doing a march, protest, phone calls, chip in $5 to, somebody in your state or some local conservative, help them out. Just to assure you the establishment has a lot more money than we do.
And I mean, Briscoe, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, if folks wanted to support your campaign, where can they go ahead and do that?
You can find it at briscoecain.com.
There you go. All right, good stuff, folks. If you enjoyed today's episode, do me a favor, go ahead, give it a share, especially if you're down in that newly formed Texas 9th Congressional District. Let him know that you are a big Briscoe Cain fan, and of course, you heard his message here on the Brian Nichols Show. But as for yours truly, you can find me over on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, I guess X now, sorry, at B Nichols Liberty. As for the show, audio and video versions are available on both your favorite podcast and video platforms. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, or Facebook, and even Spotify. They have their video platform feature as well. Just hit that subscribe button. We have a brand new episode air every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So of course, make sure you don't miss us going live. Hit that little notification bell. And as for yours truly, if you'd like to support the show, head over to our sponsor page. Support the folks who support us, like Cardio Miracle, or you can send a one-time donation to the show. Every little bit goes into helping us have amazing guests like Briscoe on the show, who will leave you educated, enlightened, and informed. Briscoe, before we say goodbye today, any final words or thoughts for the audience?
Now, guys, press the battle.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.